Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Connie with the Painted Photographer. Welcome to my 12 days of thrifted Christmas. Each day I'm taking thrifted, forgotten items and giving them new life with a little creativity, a touch of old-fashioned charm, and of course, some holiday magic. If you love DIY, thrift shopping, and turning simple finds into beautiful Christmas items, you're in the right place. So let's jump in and create something together. I'll see you at the end. Today's project, we're going to use these viral Santa busts. So when I was in Sonnet's retreat in October, the girls were talking about these viral Santa busts that you could buy at Walmart. They are $14.99 for this bust, and it was just a solid white color in a glossy finish. And I wanted to paint mine and in a realistic look. So I went over the entire bust with the DIY crinoline paint. Why I did this? Because it looks like almost the same color that was on here. But why I did it is because I wanted my um, decorative painting to have something to really adhere to. So to paint the entire thing with this clay-based DIY paint gave it a good finish. Now to make the skin color, we are going in with sandy blonde, and I wanted to make sure I had enough of it, so I mixed it up in a separate container. Then we're going to use some cowgirl coral because we got to get kind of an orange look to the skin, and we're going to mix those up. So making skin color is the hardest that I've had to do, and I have a formula that I use now, and I do like it. So it's got kind of an orangey look to it, and you have to tone that down. So we're going to use the DIY's White Swan and really tone that skin color down. You can make it as light as you want or as dark as you want. And so I think we have about the right color here. So we're going to go in and start painting Santa's face. So Santa's face is um, the skin color, and it has a bunch of other colors, like the eyes and the eyebrows and things like that. But we go right over the top of it because I am going to really pay attention to my painting when I get to the other pieces of this bust. So to make it easier on yourself, just paint right over the top and don't be careful around your edges because you can fix that later. The clay-based paint is got very highly pigmented, so it'll cover up all of those different colors. So white will cover up this skin color. So I painted everything, and then I needed Santa to have like a rosy look to him. So I took my skin color and I took some carnival red and I just added a tiny bit of carnival red. This, like I said, the clay-based paint is highly pigmented, so it's going to take that red color really quickly. So the skin color was all completely dried, and I went in and I painted his cheeks and his nose. I didn't like how it didn't blend, so I went back in with the skin color and got the skin color to be a wet consistency so that I could blend my cheeks and the nose back in, and it would look seamless.
Here we are, a cold December night, snowflakes fall, wonderful, magical, it's that time.
Now we're going to do the red on his hat. So this is where I'm going to be careful, and you can see I'm going to slow it down a little bit for you that I use my pinky to steady myself when I get to those edges. And using your pinky to just set it onto your project when you can't lay the rest of your hand onto your project, that is what really helps to be steady is just put your pinky down and it will help you keep your paintbrush very steady.
Most magical time of the year. Mistletoe hanging everywhere, waiting to declare that love is here in the air. We can stroll side by side all night. I'll hold your
Now I'm going in with his beard, and I'm painting his entire beard in this gray color. This was just a white swan and a little black dress mixture that I mixed up, just making just a darker gray color. And I wanted his beard and his mustache and that little tough hair on his head and eyebrows to have a little bit of natural gray to it versus the crinoline, which is kind of a yellowy color. I wanted the gray to come through versus the yellowy color. So I went in and painted all of this gray, and then we'll dry brush it later.
look at us now, walking around in the snow. We do it in a very Christmas way. Soon there will be sleigh bells and Santa Claus.
Here's where the steady part comes in. I lay the palm of my hand onto his beard, and I use a very fine liner brush, and flipping the bust back and forth, I can paint those center of the eyes. I paint him in white. He looks kind of scary at this point. He'll get better, don't worry. So then I go in with a light blue and I paint the inside of his eyes in the light blue. Again, still looks a bit on the scary side, but it'll all come together and his eyes are going to get some life to them. So here he is with no pupils. So we're going to paint in the pupils in this black color. And you're not wanting to cover up all of that blue, but you don't want as much blue to be showing as you think you do. You really barely see the irises of the eye. So we're going to paint that black. And then later on, I will show you that I added some catch lights to his eyes. His eyes still don't have any life in them, so adding a tiny bit of white helps to put that life back into the eyes. And we're going to paint the tuft of the hat, the brim of the hat in the white swan. And I'm just dry brushing. It's okay if this crinoline color is peeking through because it gives it a little bit more depth and dimension. And then we're also going to take this white swan and go over all of the hair on the Santa. And so he will have a look here. You see how this covers up the skin color very, very well. Like I only have to be careful when I'm going around the areas that have the skin color on it, but it covers it up so nicely. And now I only had to be cautious once versus more than once. So now I'm going over and just dry brushing onto the hair with the white swan and letting some of that gray shine through.
Hurry, hurry, Mama's looking worried. Will the pie be ready in time? Papa's out getting a tree while myself writing verses and rhymes. Soon they will be here, same as every year. Everyone wants home for Christmas.
For the pedestal, I used the DIY little black dress, and I painted the entire base of the pedestal in this black color. And I did not do anything special down there besides just paint it all black.
Christmas, wherever in the world they are.
Here he is completely done. You're going to see that I added the little catch lights to his eyes, which gives him just a little bit of a sparkle. And now we're going to add the clear coat on top of him. I add the big top clear coat, and that is going to seal him all in. You have to be careful when you're using red and white because you might have some bleeding happening. So that is why I did not go in with, you're going to see me use clear wax, and I didn't go in with my clear wax right away. I went over with big top because I wanted to make sure my red pigment was completely sealed in so that I didn't have any bleeding from the red to the white.
Everybody's welcome, the rich and the poor. Kids play on the outside in the newly fallen snow, while the grown-ups all huddle up inside away from the blistering cold. Soon Santa will be here, the same as every year. Everyone wants home for Christmas, no matter if it's near or far. Yeah, everyone wants home for Christmas, wherever in the world they are.
After I had it all sealed in with the big top and the clear wax, I go in with my DIY dark wax and go over the entire face and hair and fur, all of that with the dark wax. And that is, it has two sealers on it, so you really don't have to be too careful at this point that you're going to ruin it because it does have a really nice seal to it. After you get the dark wax put on, you can come back in with a soft cloth and brush it back, and your Santa is bringing on a little bit of charm.
Everyone wants home for Christmas, wherever in the world they are. Everyone wants home for Christmas, yeah, no matter if it's.
Here is a side-by-side comparison of the dark wax versus no dark wax.
Everyone wants home for Christmas.
I needed to add something to that base that on the bottom. So I went in with some fabric scraps that my sister had given me. They were all Christmassy patterns. And to do this messy bow, you just take a piece of fabric, and I cut a little slit on the end because I did not want that straight end. And I just cut a little slit and then tore it. And then I cut a second little slit and I tore it again, which made this width of the strips that I wanted. And then I laid it down and cut the end off to where I wanted it. So I did this with all of these little different patterns that I had, and I just wanted it all to coordinate with the Santa bust and the ribbon itself. So I went and cut all of those strips. Now that I have them all completely cut, the first one I'm going to use a pipe cleaner. So I lay down the pipe cleaner and then I layer the strips all facing fabric facing the same way. I lay down these strips in a crisscrossy pattern until I have all of the strips used up.
On this night, people have come together in the square. While light flakes of snow are falling through the air, there is laughter and singing and clapping along. So we'll hear the ringing of church bells ding dong. They're ringing out for Christmas, a message we all need. They're ringing out for Christmas, for peace and hope they plead. In the message of
Then I'm going to cinch the pipe cleaner around my fabric and making everything all secure. I twist the pipe cleaner. The pipe cleaner is the easiest thing to use. You can use a piece of wire if you want, or you can use a ribbon. I will show you, I used a ribbon a little bit later on my second Santa. So this is going to fluff, and you're going to take the pipe cleaner and attach it around the base of the Santa and then twist it on the back side.
It's not even a question of religion anymore. It's a call for human kindness and the end of all wars. Look around in this crowded place. Everywhere you turn, there's a smiling face. Yeah, they've come from every corner of the world to ring these bells. So let's ring them out for Christmas, a message we all need. Let's ring them out for Christmas, for peace and hope they'll plead. In the message of Christmas we believe.
I didn't like how fluffy the bowl was, so I cut this one, and now I'm going to show you how I did that on this one. I just took the bow and started giving it a haircut and just cut it down. You can't go wrong. If you do not like it, you just take it off because it's tied onto the back side, and then you just make another one. But I wanted this bow to be quite a bit smaller. And so I just cut all of that down equal on each side until I had the look that I wanted.
They're ringing out for Christmas, a message we all need. They're ringing out for Christmas, for peace and hope they plead.
I hope that you enjoyed this project. He is beautiful, I have to say. He turned out better than I expected. If you would like any of the DIY products that I showed you here today, you can find them at thepaintedphotographer.com. And I am also listing the Santa bust on my website. So if you'd like to grab yourself one of these painted Santa bust for your decor, you can find them on my website. Let me know in the comments if you like him as much as I do. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this project, let me know in the comments. I love hearing from each and every one of you. If you're enjoying these videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the 12 days of Thrifted Christmas. If you need any of the products I used here today, you can find them at thepaintedphotographer.com and I'll ship them right to your front door. And until next time, happy painting.